Hey class,
Hey.
I want you guys to imagine yourself on a hospital bed, not being able to speak or move. And you look around and you see a tube that's connected to an oxygen tank and to your nose. Your doctor told you that you won't be able to, your doctor told you that you'll be living like this for the next 6 months. And before you die, you're probably thinking to yourself, how am I going to live like this? Or how am I going to live another day? Well, there's an option that's called euthanasia, or some people might call it physician-assisted suicide. The definition of physician-assisted suicide, and it speaks for the term itself, is the killing of oneself with the assistance of a physician. And it's usually to end suffering and pain. And it's only legal in some states, but I believe it should be legal in every state. I'm in favor of physician-assisted suicide because it will conserve medical resources, preserve organs so that other lives can be saved, and every individual should have the right to decide when and how they should die. It is a waste of time, money, and medical resources to prolong a life that cannot be saved. I mean, a medical bill isn't cheap. It's rather quite expensive. Your doctor would never tell you how much you're going to pay for what they're doing on you. But let me just say that you're going to pay for everything, every little thing your doctor is going to do to you and give you. For example, like medicine, surgery, x-ray, MRIs, and any kind of scans. And let's just hope that you're not staying overnight at the hospital, because that will cost you at least an arm and a leg. Now, in this article, Economic Aspect of Euthanasia, it says that the cost of drug-assisted suicide is only $35, and the cost of proper health care at a hospital is $35,000 to $40,000. Clearly, assisted suicide drugs are a lot cheaper, and you think about it, it's a thousand times difference. So make sure you pick the right decision. Now that we talked about the expenses of physician-assisted suicide, I want to move on to how you can preserve your organs so that other lives can be saved. Physician-assisted suicide open up opportunity for you to, for these patients to donate their organs so that other lives can be saved. I mean, if you knew you were going to die in a week or a month, and you knew that your organs were functioning and they're healthy, would it make sense for you to donate them? Right? The encyclopedia, or in a 2008 medical journal by the European Society for Organ Transplant, a 44-year-old woman was suffering from a locked-in syndrome after a brainstem vascular accident. After 4 years of this assisted life, she asked for a physician-assisted suicide. According to the Belgian law, euthanasia was granted. The day before the euthanasia, the patient expressed her will of after-death organ donation. She donated her liver and both of her kidneys. Currently, more than 1 year later, all 3 recipients are enjoying a normal graft function. This lady, she knew she was going to die, and she took the guts to donate her organs to these people she don't even know who she's giving to. And because of this, like, she's a hero, and she's like my hero, even though I don't know her, but she's a hero. Now that we talk about the expenses of physician-assisted suicide and how you can preserve your organs so that other lives can be saved, I want to talk about how every individual have the right to decide on when and how they should die. Individual should have the right to decide on how and when they should die. It is a fundamental freedom to choose death as it is as freedom to choose life. There's no legal statements in the Constitution that says that individual cannot choose to die. And that's why we have advance directives, or a living will. Since we have advance directive, humans have the right to choose when and how they can die is now emphasized, and doctors should respect their wishes. And the Encyclopedia of Philosophy has an article titled Euthanasia by Bernard Garrett. a moral philosopher where he states, however, it is clear that another result of everyone knowing that their advance directives would not be honored would be anxiety, anger, and other unpleasant feelings. By those competent persons who made out such advance directives, this could result in an increase in deaths of such competent persons. In order to avoid the unwanted prolongation of their life as incompetent persons, that the public policy of honoring advance directives is likely to have better consequences than the public policy of not honoring them justified the policy. So what's the point of having advance directives if your doctor aren't going to follow your wishes? I mean, if more people are willing to kill themselves because they had to live this way, would it make sense to have physician-assisted suicide? In conclusion, I am in favor of physician-assisted suicide, and because it will conserve medical resources, preserve your organs so that other lives can be saved, and that every individual should have the rights to decide on how and when they should die. A few minutes ago, I told you guys that you were going to be on a hospital bed with life support, living for the next 6 months. Now you have the option. Now you have an option to get out of that. Now you have the option to get out of that. Yeah, you get to die with dignity because you're donating your organs so that other lives can be saved, and that lives can be saved. So that other lives can be saved, and that is better than dying with a hospital death that may cost you 2 arms and 2 legs.
Christian, what did you think?
I like how you related the topic into the intro. He talked nice and loud. I felt a lot of persuasive parts of the speech. You can tell where it comes going. I like the statistics he used about the cost of killing someone early or letting him live on. The transitions were there, they were kind of clear. I thought it was a good speech until like the ending part. It was pretty solid speech.
Okay. Yeah, you had a little bit of trouble there at the exit. The visualization at the beginning is fine. You've got a good, clear statement of your purpose. I think you've picked a couple of awkward supporting points. The idea that people have an obligation to save money, so kill yourself, doesn't really sound very appealing to anybody except your insurance company. So I think that that's a bit problematic. Yeah, 35 cents, that sounds like a good deal. Here's the 35 cents, save us the $40,000 that we'd otherwise be taking care of you. That doesn't sound like a very strong motivating factor for the individual, I think, in those circumstances. The argument about organ donation, it's not clear to me why organ donation is not possible if people just wait out death. If there's a reason, for instance, that the death is going to make it problematic for people to have organs. Let's say they've got cancer or something like that. I'm not sure physician-assisted suicide would change that whatsoever. And if there's not a reason for it, and they are terminal, for example, then why can't we just take it when they die naturally? It's never clearly explained why that is a unique reason to support physician-assisted suicide. I think there are plenty of reasons to support organ donation, and everybody might feel the same way about that, but why it is that we have to get our organs from people who are terminally ill and are choosing physician-assisted suicide. Look, you're in the hospital, you're wasting our time, you're wasting our money, give me your liver. Sounds like a very strange way to appeal to people to get them to make a sacrifice on your part. I think the argument about having a right needs a little bit more development. You've got one piece of information that vaguely refers to advanced declarations, but it seems to be premised on the idea that people would ignore an advanced declaration. And advanced declaration is not the same thing as physician-assisted suicide. So I think you have to develop a little bit more of a philosophical argument about why people have a right to choose, rather than just, it's not in the Constitution that we can't have it. There's got to be more standard to it than that. And if we're going to look at constitutional interpretations, what has the Supreme Court said about these kinds of things? You don't have any discussion of that issue. So that's a little bit problematic. The delivery is okay. I think you have a tendency, I know that you're trying to work from memory and you're looking kind of off to the side. And my impression is sometimes that you're just visualizing, what your notes are as you're looking off. But most of the time you look at us, you did a pretty good job. But like I said, every once in a while I could just kind of see, it's like, what? And my next point was, and you're kind of scrolling through your memory trying to remember the next thing that you were going to be talking about. And then you had that little bit of trouble at the end. All right, thank you.